I would like to acknowledge the Guringai people and pay my respects to the elders both past and present. The Guringai people are the traditional owners of this land where we meet today. Welcome to a thrilling episode with my guest, Arnold. At first, you might think I'm talking to the famous movie star, Arnold Schwarzenegger, because Arnold's story sounds like it's straight out of a blockbuster film. But our Arnold is Arnold Dix, and today's theme is embracing the full spectrum of life.
Welcome to Sharing Stories, Changing Lives. The host, Karen Sander, has the privilege of interviewing individuals from all walks of life, each with their own powerful and inspiring stories. The guests share their life experiences, and in doing so, they celebrate the transformative magic of storytelling. To learn more, visit www.thestoryroom.au and explore the private membership area, the Backstage Pass.
Welcome, Arnold Dix.
Thank you for having me.
You've become like a bit of an instant celebrity. Can you share the story, a little bit of a story from your childhood that may have hinted at a future with such a diverse career path from engineering to hairdressing?
I'm a hotel keeper's kid. So that's the first clue. So I don't come from a family of intellectuals or something like that. Well, I'm a hotel keeper's kid, and I got dragged, well, not really dragged, I mean I walked, but from hotel to hotel as a small kid. And I went to 6 primary schools in 3 jurisdictions. So I went to school in Victoria, New South Wales and the ACT. And I was considered a remedial student by the time I got to, I don't know what school it was, because everyone did their learning differently, you know. You do spelling bees in some schools and you do tables things in other schools, and some schools you got to get a special license to have a pen, and some schools you're just allowed to have one, and and pen it on your messy writing, and oh my God. So I completely tuned out of the school stuff, and I would just come along to school and go, yeah. I remember turning up at school and going, okay, are we let's all stand up and when we answer a question, sit down kind of school? Are we a long division? Are we a short division? Are we a hands up? Come on, just help me with this. But I'm completely disinterested in the whole thing. And in grade 5 in Canberra, this is where it gets to maybe things were going to be different. They were doing some sort of a study on remedial students, and which I didn't care about. And then I got called into the principal's office, and there was a very sensible looking educator there, and my home teacher and the principal, and they all were looking at me, and they said, "Now, Arnold, we'd just like to talk to you for a minute about the answers you've given on this test that we've done for you." I'm like, yeah, sure. And they said, so in this number series, and I don't know what the number series was, for our purposes, it might be 2, 4, what is the next thing? They're expecting 6. And of course, I'd put 16 because 4 squared. I'd see different patterns. And my patterns were real to me. And what I didn't see were the patterns that they wanted me to see. So I explained that. And then they noticed that I wasn't really hanging out with the other kids. Of course, why would I hang out with the other kids? Because the other kids don't know me. And I've only just turned up, and, and I know I'm going to be gone again soon. And they said, what are you doing? And I remember very well what I was doing. I was designing a deep space propulsion system to approach the speed of light, and I was thinking about how I'd use lasers, and because lasers were a thing just starting in those days. And so I explained to them the concept that I was working on, and that I thought we could get a spaceship up to the speed of light or at least approach the speed of light, and so we could bend time. And I was really interested in all that sort of stuff. And they were like, Arnold, we need you to concentrate. Now, we're going to put you in the top class now. And anyway, but I didn't concentrate. And in the end, Mum and Dad decided they better send me to a real school. And so they moved to a different city and they put me into a nice school. And that school tried to tame me. So that's I mean, that's a very long answer to a very short question, but it meant I've always just seen education as an informal thing, and I've always just sort of followed my nose, and I'm interested in everything. And I've always worked with everybody. So as a kid, I would work cleaning the tables, cleaning the ashtrays, washing the glass.
Oh, that's a terrible job because I worked in a bar and cleaning the ashtrays.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, that is the most foul job.
Yeah. So you get... But I learned as a kid that everybody's job can be a bit interesting, and every job has its sort of nuances, and I didn't judge anybody by what job they had, and I got joy in different jobs. Like I remember I was really good at pre-cleaning plates for the dishwashing, so when the plates would come in out of the restaurant, I couldn't do the actual tub of water because it was a bit hot before we put it into the commercial washer, but I could do the scraping and the whatever, and I was good at it, and I was fast at it, and I was really proud that I could be as big as, I could be as fast as an adult. So and I met all sorts of characters, and then being in the hotel, being a little kid, and then moving amongst drunks, really, they were interesting characters for me, and they'd all have stories to tell, and I was interested in their stories, and I don't know. So I sort of grew up in the school of hard knocks, where I just loved everything, really.
I guess that's the way that you've managed to cultivate a joy in living.
Yeah.
That's influenced your career.
Yeah, well, I think death has the potential to be quite disappointing, period. And so I try not to focus on it, other than I try and help everybody around me not to go there unnecessarily early. I mean, I hope I'm surprised after I'm dead there's something interesting, but if I'm not surprised, I'm still quite content, because I feel like I've led a full life. Even now, like if I get, if there's an embolism in here and it's about to go pop, and it does during this interview, I'll be happy about that. Like I haven't got any, whatever. It's okay.
Well, that'll be a first in an interview that someone's died in front of me. So, let's
hit me with a scary question, like here we go.
Well, let's just go, because you have hit overnight celebrity. You said you don't tell people about what you do in your work, and you do wear many hats. So you might have to tell me about the name of this tunnel, but you rose to sort of stardom after you miraculously, with a team, but you led the team to save 41 Indian men trapped in a tunnel, and they'd been trapped for quite a while. Oh, my God, that is amazing. Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, I think it's a miracle, actually, and I've never been close enough to what I think is a miracle to actually call something a miracle. But if I look back through the epics of the world, and what other people in the past have called miracles, I reckon this qualifies. And the reason it qualifies is no one ever survives. Or if they do, it's just a handful, and you always kill a few, and usually some of us die as well, right? That's typical. So for me, I go, if I was ticking the boxes, if there was a procedure you had to go through in order to classify an event as miracle or non-miracle, this was miracle. And the reason I say that is because I spent my whole life pulling out dead bodies and learning from catastrophes. So I know how this normally ends. And like I know what these men normally look like when they're dead, because I've dealt with them before in other countries. I know, like, before even being on site, knowing that it was 41 miners in India, I knew how tall they'd be. I knew what colour skin they'd have. I knew what their eyes would be like. I knew how they line up, because they line up really close to one another. It looks kind of funny. It's a little bit sort of Buster Keaton-ish, really. I knew that they're really hardworking. I knew that they do it for their families, not for themselves. I knew they're selfless. I knew that they are. I knew exactly who these men were, if not by name, because I've seen them around the world before. These men go out to earn $10 a day to support typically 10 to 20 people back in their really, really poor villages. They're essentially migrant workers, and in this case, they were working within their own country, coming from poor states to a rich state. And Uttarkashi, where they were, has got a major road building exercise on at the moment, linking 4 of its most sacred temples. So when I'm talking miracle, the stage, it's not just the result that we've got, it's the scene. We are in the most sacred area for the Hindu people. We are building a tunnel between 2 of their most sacred temples. The day that the tunnel collapses, earlier that day, the construction company demolished the little temple that they had at the front of the tunnel to worship and pray before you went inside. The day that it happened is the first day of Diwali, the Festival of Lights.
Yep.
They believe that the god of that mountain, that was the time that god should be waking, because they have a thing, the gods come out to play in this part of the Himalayas during winter, and then they go to sleep during the summer, which is when the pilgrims come. It's epic. It's like you couldn't write a better script. I mean, it's the most sacred place on earth, in a sacred mountain, with a god that's upset. The local priests are saying the reason these men are trapped in there, the reason it's collapsed is because you've offended the gods. The gods are just wakening. It's the first day of Diwali. Oh, my God. This is like we're in a real movie. This is like, and then the really weird, and it's kind of funny because my first name's Arnold. The reason that's funny is because they send a helicopter. So there's Arnold, not Schwarzenegger, no guns, no muscles, in a helicopter going to save 41 men in a tunnel that's collapsed in the sacred Himalayan mountains. I mean, this is nuts. This is and it never happens. We never save everybody. We normally get killed ourselves. Well, obviously I hadn't got killed before. If I had, it was in a prior life. I can't remember. So it's just, this is the most nutty, I can laugh about it now, but can you imagine? How could you make that up? That is, it's just,
it's brilliant.
Yeah. And the most important, and this is really cool. So I didn't know much about the Hindu religion before this, but on my way there, I'd become aware of the gods, that the priests were saying that the gods were upset, or the particular god is upset, and that's why this has happened. So I was doing my research, and I discovered that the god of death for the Hindu people is a god called Kali. And Kali is depicted as a female god, and there's 3 gods. At this level, for your Hindu friends out there, please forgive me for what I'm going to say. I'm not meaning to offend anybody. It's my Australian style understanding of the drill. So you've got sort of a main god, and then you come down from the main god, and you've got god of creation, god of death, and god of mediation. And the 3 of them hang out together. So creation, death, and mediation. Creation is the most beautiful creation god, as you would expect. It's a god of creation. God of mediation, their job is to mediate between creation and death. And god of death, Kali, is depicted as a female in a really bad mood. And she just reaps death and destruction willy-nilly. And when you see a depiction of her, she has severed heads in her, around her neck, a necklace of severed heads. She's got blood squirting everywhere, and she's enraged because another bad god is trying to hurt her husband, and she's trying to just protect her husband, and she's just in a really filthy mood. And so she just randomly kills people. And I've got to say, that figure really resonated with me. I'm like, if that is not death, the death I know, this sort of random thing that for no apparent reason strikes in a rage, that's that's the death I've experienced through my life. It's not a considered thing. It's a horrible thing, the way death turns up. Now, the reason I tell you that is because the first thing I did when I got to the site is, well, while I was flying there, literally, they put another temple back up. Little temple at the tunnel portal. What people didn't know, and what perhaps your listeners don't know, is in the underground everywhere in the world, mining, tunnels, rail, everywhere, we have little temples outside all our tunnels.
Really?
Yeah. We have, in the Western world, we have a thing called Saint Barbara, which is nominally a Catholic figure, but doesn't really matter. It's related to pagan figures as well. But in all underground operations in Australia right now, if you go and ask, you'll find there's a little temple. It's hidden because we're usually pretty tough characters, so we're not going to admit it. But we have a little temple because we know that death lives in there. We know that for thousands of years, our predecessors, the generations of those people who build underground, have died, and they die randomly, and we're very humble. And this comes as a huge shock because we're in a culture where you don't normally talk about this. And, you see wearing my big tough boots and I've got my big orange clothes and my big helmet and everything. But actually we reflect every time we go underground. It's our little secret. And you'll find that it's in Sydney, it's in Brisbane. I was just in Brisbane yesterday. The new project's there. There's a little Aboriginal one next to the Santa Barbara one up on the new project in the city for Indigenous people to have a little prayer before they go in. Yeah, we take it really seriously. So conceptually, the idea that destroying a little temple is disrespectful to the god of the mountain wasn't that foreign to me at all. Even though I'm a pink Western scientist engineer, it actually isn't that foreign, because I'm also really humble, because that's part of that humility is part of what is ground into us underground people from the moment we begin our journey as underground. It doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter whether you're driving the truck or whether you're doing the tea or whether you're the geologist or the geophysicist or the operator. We all take a moment before we go underground, just even if it's just in our mind, to be a little humble, because it's not like up here. So yeah, I've strayed, but it's true. So the first thing I did,
it's a good story.
And it's true. This is the amazing thing. You just have to Google it. And because 250 of India's best national TV cameramen were on the other hill across the valley with their telephoto lenses for 17 days, running 24-hour-a-day live coverage, it meant that everything that I did and everything that we did is captured. So what I'm telling you now, you just Google it with your best Hindi, and you'll find the footage. It's just completely different. Yeah. So, pink Arnold non-Schwarzenegger without a gun, with no muscles, with his senior card, arriving on a chopper. It's captured on national telly. But the thing that really captured their attention was I went and I kneeled down at their little temple and I had a couple of words. And just had a bit of a think about what I had to do, because there were 41 kids inside this mountain and they needed rescuing. And the chief engineer of India, I don't know how else to say it. It's like the chief engineer of India, which is pretty easy to say, but, if you've got 1.4 billion people, to be the chief engineer is pretty cool, I think. I mean, he'd asked me to come and help. And the secretary from his department to the Prime Minister had also asked me to come and help. And that sounds really very interesting, but actually it's as simple as my phone rings, we have a chat, and they go, "Can you come and help?" And I'm like, okay. And there's no commercial terms. There's no what do I have to do. There's not even what I don't do. Everything I did was what I felt like. It's just like, can you just come and help? I'm like, okay. So the first thing I did was I bowed down at their little temple, not because I was told to, but because I thought that was the right thing to do. And even before I'd landed, having learned about Kali and the sort of mood she was in, all I wanted was not yet. Just not yet. don't take them yet. You're going to have them soon enough. They're just in their 20s. They're just kids. So don't take them yet. Oh, and by the way, don't take me yet because I'm just a volunteer too. And I'm just trying to help. And all my friends here, we're all really nice people too. So don't take us yet. We'll probably see you even sooner. So just not yet. That's it. Right. Really nice, simple wish. And just that act of humility meant that the people there somehow felt that I was connected to their mission and I meant what I said, because then I famously said 41 people home safe, no one injured by Christmas. They were only my 3 messages. 41 men home safe. Yeah, 41 men safe, none of us injured by Christmas. And that was it. And I just that's all I kept promising.
And what a present for Christmas.
Yeah. Well, the reason I said for Christmas was because Diwali had finished and Christmas was a good few weeks away. And also because it's Hindu community, I wanted to really draw out, there's nothing urgent here. Death comes soon enough. The mission is to get these people home safe and not to get hurt. And there's no rush. It's not like we've got to do it. Because if we rush, we're going to kill them. And we're going to kill ourselves because we're going to be typical rushing, not thinking, trying to go too fast. We're going to muck something up. So, yeah, how about we just chill? So it's a bit hard to chill when you've got 41 lives on balance, but it just set a mood, a really positive mood, because when I got there, everything had failed. Like everything, like we were having avalanches, we had earthquake, there was a huge cavern opening up, everything was falling apart, the machines had broken, like everything was pretty grim. So, yeah. Anyway, I think the tunnel's just one thing I do, but it was a pretty big deal.
It took you 17 days.
Yeah.
You got 41 people that were trapped, men that were trapped, young men, out.
Yep.
And yourselves.
Yep.
It was probably a massive project of very little sleep.
Yeah.
I think the joyous thing, the most joyful thing I remember seeing on TV, because it was such big news, which is when, by the way, I SMS'd you and said I wanted an interview.
Right.
The most joyous thing was seeing them on the hill dancing like...
On the tree.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't the men. That was the rescue team. So,
that was the rescue team.
Yeah, that was so what had happened, so we'd all be in the tunnel and we were all talking to each other. So there was a risk that the whole thing was going to collapse and kill us, which is, that's the normal way it goes. And so we'd been having a lot of discussions and I'd say, look, guys, when you get through, assume we get through, because we still haven't got through, but when you get through to the other side, if the mountain starts to cave in on you, run to the back, like run away from the pipe, because if you're near the pipe, that's for sure you'll get killed, because that's where the big cave things happened up above, because it was like this big hole in the mountain. It was collapsing and it was going up vertically through the mountain. So I said, go to the back, and I promise I'm going to come and get you. I'll get the team. We're going to come and get you, but it could take us 2 or 3 weeks. So but get yourself to the back, because we'd have to come in another way, because once the tunnel blew, best I could tell, it was going to be really bad, and we'd have to come in either through the side of the mountain or from the top. But we had problems. We were worried there was an inland sea up above the tunnel, and we were worried we were going to pop a hole through it. And if we popped a hole through it's like an ocean that lives up in the top of the mountain, because the mountain used to be at the bottom of an ocean, and they're really new mountains, and they sort of popped up, and you get trapped oceans inside them.
What's a how newly new mountain? How old?
Oh, it's only just a few million years old, which in the scheme of mountains is like really new, whereas like Australia is billions. Like that's why our place is like yawn, Nullarbor Plain. I mean, interesting as it is, but it's been there a long time. Whereas the Himalayan mountains, right up the top where we were, you find fish fossils and stuff from an ocean.
Oh.
It's been pushed up. So that's why it's always having earthquakes. That's why it's always falling down. That's why the tunnels collapse, because it's not like a big tough mountain I've been here for billions of years. No, I'm a juvenile delinquent mountain. Last week I was the ocean bed and today I'm a mountain. And what am I doing up here? So, yeah. So those guys, it was the rescue guys, the guys like me who are normally getting out bodies, that was so happy that we didn't kill ourselves or have to pull out any bodies. And yeah, we just went off and we actually went to the top of the mountain. The video you saw, we were going to the top of the mountain to the sort of head office of the god, whose temple was down at the bottom of the mountain where the tunnel was.
Yeah.
That's like the sub-branch for the god, the little temple. But the main branch is up on top of the mountain. So we were going up to the main temple to say thank you, because I thought it'd be really rude having got 41 men out and having not got hurt at all, like not a drop of blood. No one got hurt. In 17 days, we didn't hurt anybody. I thought it'd be very, very disrespectful and rude not to go to the temple and say thank you. So we were just heading up to the temple to say thank you, and we'd said thank you, and then there was this big log, and then they made up an Arnold Dix song, and I'm hoping it says nice things, but I don't really know because the only words I understand are Arnie Dix. That's it. But it could be kill the pig, cut his throat, spill the blood, for all I know. But I'm not exactly 100% sure.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So the miners, they probably weren't in great condition after so long trapped.
Well, I think they're more amazed than anybody that they're alive, because they also know how this ends. And normally also what governments would do in a case like this is just declare that they're dead. And then because it takes a long time to recover. And then eventually in a year or two, when you manage to get back into the chamber where they're caught, they're dead. And you go, yeah, see, they're dead. Well, because normally we can't get them out. Normally we don't even try. Not like
it's
that.
It's an amazing story, and congratulations to everyone that actually managed to do that. And wow, what a phone call to get to be asked to come over. That must have been, something else.
If you're interested in getting more involved in our community, connecting with people who share your interests, you can do this by visiting our website at www.thestoryroom.au.
Yeah, it's like, okay. And I do that as my day job, though. I do emergency stuff. I just don't talk about it. And normally, so it's sort of known within sort of the circles, within those sort of government circles, that if you're really stuck, if there's really a problem that doesn't quite fit the book, if you need some help that's a little different, give Arnold a call and he'll have a crack. But I never normally talk about it. You'll never hear me talk about it. You've never heard me talk about it.
Wow.
Because I don't. But they caught me on telly, so now it's like now I have to talk about it because everyone saw me do it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, there's the word. You've been outed.
Yeah, I've been outed. It's exactly what's happened. And I've been outed, and I had to have a big think about whether I was a denier. I'm like, it wasn't me. It was my stunt double. Or I go,
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. Or I go, no, it's true. Yeah, it's true. And I've decided that because the world's got such horrible narratives being discussed, like people debating stuff that shouldn't even get the honour of one word, let alone debating it, because people click on news, which is so disgusting because there's such horrific stuff flying everywhere.
Yeah.
I thought, hell, why not? Okay, so now people know what I do, and I'm just a senior with an attitude, like it's not like I'm not rich. I don't come from a special family. I don't have any magic sort of powers. Like it's not like I've got superhero muscles, I can sort of help solve problems, and maybe that's nice. And maybe it's the time in our history where just being nice is something that you can go, I was just nice. They asked me to help and I went and helped, okay? And no, I didn't make $1 million. And no, I don't drive a Mercedes. And yes, that is my ute, like I'm just a normal guy.
So, but you wear so many hats, and we'll leave the mine behind for a moment because you're just a joyous person. I get that from your voice, but you wear so many hats. What is an unexpected skill or hobby or something that you've studied? Because people now know you're also a barrister, but
Yeah.
there's many other things that you are.
I think the one that annoys my wife the most at the moment is I've become fascinated with late 1800s pump organs, the parlour organs that we used before electricity in homes, in small churches. And they have no value at all. So you'll find them on hard rubbish. And I feel sorry for them. So I've been collecting them and I've been teaching myself how to repair them. And it's probably my oddest hobby. And it's odd because I don't even know how to play them yet. But I've enrolled in an online course, not for pump organs, because no one teaches pump organs because no one plays pump organs anymore, except, well, I'm trying to. And I'm trying to learn Phantom of the Opera theme first as my first. So I thought that would be really cool when people come to visit if I play that on my pump organ. But I collect and restore pump organs, which have no value at all. They take a lot of room in the shed and they annoy my family enormously. They're an instrument and they're beautiful and they've got their own special sound and I love music. So, yeah, I'm on a quest to save the pump organs, a huge, huge organisation consisting of me. It's just...
So you've also done hairdressing.
What people don't know about being a barrister, and it's really closely related to hairdressing, is when you're a barrister and people know you're a lawyer, which is one of the reasons mostly I don't tell people that I am unless I happen to be their barrister, everybody wants you to fix their problems, right? Oh, my landlord's got blah, 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 blah. Can you help me? I was like, yes, I can. My son just got caught doing drugs or something. Can you help? Yes, I can help with it. Everybody's got a problem and you've got to fix it, and you can. Hairdressing is almost the same, except you don't have to fix anything. All you have to do is go, oh, I know. Oh, my God. Oh, I can't believe it. And so for me, it's the natural balance to being a barrister. And I think that particularly colours, I like putting non-permanent colours in kids' hair, especially if the kids are staying over and they go home and their parents have coloured their hair like bright purple and green or something like that. But it's non-permanent, so I normally would do that in the school holidays.
When the kids come over and you're a barrister and you're going to send the kids home with green or red or yellow hair, do you get the parents to sign a form first? A legal document?
That's a really good question. It's a really good segue into something else I do. Before terrorism became a thing, right? It's going back when my kids were younger. We used to have birthday parties here that was so extreme that I did get parents to acknowledge that the kids were coming to a party at my house, because I really liked, and I haven't mentioned it, and I didn't mention it in emails to you before either, I was a very early adopter of explosives and rocketry as a kid. So therefore, before terrorism was a thing, it used to be our generation, we could blow stuff up and it was fair.
Oh, I know.
And
penny bunners.
Yeah. And I was way into that. And also I then sort of expanded that into rocketry and what have you. So I can build rockets, I can build explosives, I can do all of that sort of stuff. Look, I've got all my fingers. Like I'm the thinking man's explosives and rocketry kind of guy, right? So we used to have birthday parties here that were like a pyrotechnic dream. And we'd have build your own rockets. We'd have like war games, but not war games with guns, but war games we'd make like little pretend hand grenades and they could throw them at each other. Anyway, but just with flour and stuff, like no one ever get hurt. But it did mean that I would ask parents to dress their kids in non-plastic clothes. So none of this fleecy stuff, like you'd have to wear wool or cotton or anything, because I didn't want kids catching on fire and stuff. And so we used to have a pre-birthday briefing. We have water tanks and stuff lying around. Kids were taught to throw their friends into the water if they caught on fire, all that sort of stuff. And and mind you, we never had anyone hurt because we have bonfires. Of course, we'd have bonfires and do all the stuff that we could do in those days. And yes, it was risky, but hell, we had a good time and no one did get hurt. In those ones, yes, I did seek the parents to just acknowledge that I was requesting no plastic clothes, please. My parties were so famous. Like if you got an invite to one of my kids' parties, you were like, whoa, like game on, and they'd last for a full weekend. Even now, some of the checkout people up at the local town talk about my parties because they don't remember it's me because I'm looking a lot older and greyer and everything now. People reminisce about coming to the parties at that house, where we'd have these. And yes, there were some parents who banned their children from coming to parties at our house because they wouldn't sign the waiver. So yeah, they were ripper parties, and the kids learned a lot of really good physics and chemistry and how to risk take. It was great.
I'm thinking that you had more fun than the kids.
I am one of the kids. So
okay.
I'm totally just a little delinquent child wrapped up in an increasingly aged, wrinkled and greying body. There's no doubt about it.
The list goes on. You are a flower farmer. Yep. You've done hairdressing. You're a barrister. You're an engineer. You rescue people out of tunnels. And there's so much more. Truck driver.
Yep.
What drove you to explore so many diverse fields? And what advice do you have for people in life? I mean, I've had a lot of diverse opportunities as well, but what advice do you have people about having diverse careers?
Firstly, we live a long time now. So, well, if you're lucky, you live a long time now. And you can live a long time now with pretty good health. I'm in my 60s now. Well, I've just turned 60, so I'm in my 60th year. And apart from things hurting a lot, I think I've probably got another 10 years where I can at least bounce around doing quite physical work. That's not just intellectual, but physical work. And I think being a good human being, just being a decent person, is about having an empathy for others around you. And what better way to have empathy to others around you than to have literally walked in their shoes? Like, I really feel for truck drivers because I am one and I know what they have to deal with and what fun it is to be a truck driver. So I really like being a truck driver because it is a joy to have the traffic jam always behind you. That is so cool. And the trucks, they're so nice to drive. And so I get a lot of joy out of driving a truck. I get a lot of joy out of doing colours in kids' hair or kids of any age hair. I love my flower farming, but I'm really bad at it. And so I'm always trying to learn more ways to do the flower farming. The welding, I did, my welding is only a fairly recent thing. I did my welding training through COVID, and yet the welding was instrumental in doing the rescue because we had to fabricate the emergency rescue equipment on site. And if I hadn't been a welder, I wouldn't have been able to help with the design and fabrication of the equipment. So,
wow.
So it's like, for me, it's like, come on, everyone, loosen up a bit. Like, and yes, I'm a barrister. If you research my barristering, I'm a really good barrister. I'm not just an average barrister. I'm really good at it. But I'm not saying that in a pompous way. I'm saying it in the same breath that I'm a really good truck driver, but not the best truck driver. I'm a good welder, probably average, not even really good because I just don't have enough hours with my welding. I'm a fair to muddling hairdresser, and I don't care because when you're spraying colour around, what the heck? And I don't do cuts because I just can't do them. And foils, my God, I just can't do foils fast enough. And anyone who's ever had foils from me, it's always a real mess. It just doesn't work, my foils. And the list goes up. And I do weed control in the area where I live. I've got a little pest and vermin control thing that I do, and I'm pretty I'm fair at that. But mostly I'm just I'm a person, if you bump into me in the street, I'll want to talk to you because I really want to talk to you. And I'm interested to listen to your stories. And because they could be my stories, because I could be walking in your shoes. And I think that's my message for everyone. Like, don't get hung up on, don't worry about what your nana says you should do, or your auntie or your uncle or your mum or your dad or your kids or whatever. Just hang loose a bit. But what you do it well. Like, don't just piss fart about. Like, if you're gonna drive a truck, drive the bloody truck properly. If you're gonna do welding, get serious about it. If you want to collect pump organs, well, look, I mean, I've got my books on pump organs, right? I'm learning how to repair them. I've got books from the 1800s, the manuals on. Like, if I'm going to do it, like restoring and collecting reed organs. Like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it well. I'm going to throw myself in. If I'm going to have a swim in the ocean, I'm not going to wear a wetsuit. I'm going to do it nude. Like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And that would be my advice to people. Like, assume that this is it. Assume that this consciousness that we're swimming through at the moment, whatever that is, assume this is it. Assume this is the best it gets. Like, I don't know about you, but I haven't seen anything else in the universe quite like being conscious. Joy, sadness, and sadness, it's okay too, because like for me, because I do so much, it means I've failed at so many more things than most people, because I've had a crack at a whole lot. And failure helps calibrate success, and I just really like being alive and enjoy the emotions of it too. Like, I'm really enjoying talking to you, and I'm watching your face. I'm like, oh, you've talked to lots of people, but you're having a bit of you're having a happy time having a chat to me.
I am having a really happy time. I've got the biggest smile on my face, and you've made me giggle. Because you're just my type of person. Wonderful, quirky, intelligent, kind, with a zest for life.
Yeah, and not up myself. And that's the other thing. Like, I don't know about you, but I meet a lot of people who I think are really a bit uncomfortable being alive, and they sort of inhabit some very weird spaces and get worried about stuff that doesn't really matter, and aren't really celebrating just being alive, and I mean what I say, like a bad emotion, a failure or whatever, I get really sad too, because you can't be happy without being sad. I mean, it's not like you can only have the emotion thing turned. Yeah, I'm only going to experience emotions which are positive. No, it's you experience emotion. And maybe that's what's special about being human. If we're going to have a cry, we can all have a cry together, and that's okay.
You said just the words. We are human, and we have all those emotions, sadness, happiness.
I suppose I'm quite sensitive to emotion. So when I'm investigating death, particularly if it's on a large scale, I feel the sadness in communities. Like, I remember when I first arrived at New York after 9/11, which was pretty much straight after the collapse, I just could feel the pain, like it hurt me. Same with the London bombings, same with the Madrid bombings, same with, where else did I go?
They're things I didn't know you'd done.
No, sorry, no, I was just reflecting. Sorry, no, because I hadn't told anyone. Oh, now I've told you. Oh my God, I've been outed some more.
Oh my God, it's off. You're outed again.
I'm outed again. But I feel sadness. When I visit a city, I get a feeling for how the people are feeling in the city. You kind of feel it. And I'm really big on, as a human being, just kind of like, don't be so internally focused. Kind of open up and, I don't know, like swim in this life, like just, I don't know, experience it. And look, you can see me. Like, it's not like there's nothing special going on here. I'm just an old bloke, and the only thing I've got is attitude and my mind. You don't need any tools for it. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need special clothes for it. You don't have to join a group. You just have to be human. Give you an example. Yesterday I was, where was I? Yesterday. Brisbane. I was in Brisbane. I had a moment to get my lunch. And I didn't want to mention the rescue, but since the rescue, I'm really happy that I'm alive because I'm not stupid enough to have not noticed that I should be dead, right? So for me, I'm thinking it's good to be alive. And so I could have any lunch that I wanted there in Brisbane. It was a very serious meeting that I was at. So I looked for Hungry Jacks because I just love the Whopper meals, right? Even though I know they're bad for me, even though they're going to make me fat, I wanted one. So anyway, there was one in Brunswick Street Mall. So I went up there, got my Whopper meal. If you spend over $12, Brisbane City Council gave you an extra donut. Thank you, Brisbane City Council. So they gave me a donut, and there was a group of less fortunate people hanging out in one of the alleyways, probably getting ready to pounce on someone like me to rob us. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, so I could A, walk past them, B, eat my donut, or go over and say, hi, guys. Hey, they've just given me this donut. I've just had my lunch. Do you want a donut? Anyway, struck up a conversation. They didn't rob me. They were really happy that I'd offered them my prized donut. I had a really interesting discussion using words in sentences in arrangements that I would not normally do myself, but, why not? And they were really nice to me. And they were just happy that I popped in to say hello. That's a good day.
You've just shared so many lessons in life. My father always used to say, talk to everybody. Everybody has a story. You say hello to people. You don't just pass them by. He was adamant, about that, and he made us stick to it. And, I talk to people that are cleaning the toilets in the public toilets when you go in. I always ask them, how's their day, this, that, and that. It's something that he drilled into us.
Yeah.
It's a good lesson in life.
Yes, there's nothing even more to say, is there? That's just it. It's like that simple because the other person's a human. And so you say, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know that I've noticed this is an observation. If you go walking early in the morning, people say hello more often than they do if you did the same walk in the middle of the day. They just ignore you.
Yeah.
But in the morning, they say hello. What's the difference?
I wonder whether we've evolved, because I've wondered about this as well. I wonder whether we've got like a little bit in our brain, the village-sized human interaction gland, and we've just maxed out. We actually just can't, because we just can't, how do you say hello to, say, I don't know, 10,000 people on your walk to work if you're a bit later in the morning? I mean, I choose to live outside a city. I choose to live, in the country. But equally, I could be happy, and I have lived in the inner city as well. But there I find little communities form. But I think maybe cities are difficult for us as humans because the scale is too much for us. We haven't...
Well, would you mind researching that at some stage and come back to me with the answers someday?
Oh, yeah. In what, one paragraph, or you want two?
Yeah, one. Two. I can only go two.
Two paragraphs?
Only
okay,
two.
Yeah, okay. That'll be Chat Dixie as opposed to Chat GPT, yeah.
So, Arnold, we're going to say goodbye to everyone at the moment, but you and I are going to go through the curtain over there. You know that curtain behind you?
Oh my God, is that what I think it is? Is that's the famous? Oh my God, I can see it for the first time.
That's the curtain. It's that beautiful maroon velvet, that really rich curtain. The one you have in the theatre.
Very popular in the 70s, can I say?
Yeah, and we're going to go outside, and you and I are just going to, go to the green room there, and we're going to get a cup of tea.
Okay.
What sort of tea do you want?
I'll have black, no sugar. Not the peppermint stuff. That doesn't seem like tea. It seems like a lolly.
We're going to get one of those each, and we're just going to sit down, and I'll order in some donuts because you were kind enough to give yours away. And we'll just have a little bit of chat out here. So can you say goodbye to everyone? Thanks.
Bye, everybody. Have a good day, night, whatever.
Thank you, Arnold, for being on this interview today. Honestly, I've had a ball. What a way to start your day.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been fun. And we're going to go off and have that cup of tea through that.
We're going to have a cup of tea.
Okay.
So see you later, everyone.
Bye.
I'm going backstage.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
See you at the hairdressing salon. Bye.
We're going to have a chat backstage.
Okay.
Thank you for tuning in to Sharing Stories, Changing Lives. We'd like to invite you to support us by purchasing a Backstage pass, costing about the same as 2 cups of coffee each month. With the Backstage pass, you'll gain access to workshops and exclusive content, including videos from our live events. You can do this by visiting our website at www.thestoryroom.au. We can continue to show that sharing stories changes lives.